And welcome back to the Constitutionals podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Look at us. We're back. If you're not watching the video, which I urge you to over there at youtube.com/cpluscomedy, you'll see that I have a new configuration for the podcast, at least the video version. The audio versions will remain the same. The same crappy product. I am now using my digital DSLR camera. Digital? This is DSLR. It's a camera. My DSLR camera. The show is a video podcast, and it's also an audio pack. Is what the podcast is, and quite frankly, just never looked very good. And at some point in the last 2 years, this stupid camera that I have, the only camera I have, besides the original Sony Handycam that I have, it's within reach. This camera has Canon EOS Rebel T3. Very cheap. Also the only thing I could afford to buy. And I bought it when C Plus Comedy started, actually. 2013, yes. And even then, it was still old. So this camera, for some reason, will not record past like 2 minutes. And I found out online it was the memory cards. Episode 205, by the way. Premier podcast, website, C Plus Comedy, it's a website, go there. And for some reason, this camera just does not record for a longer time. Found out online that it's the memory cards. Obviously, I've had these memory cards one memory card for a long time, so I bought 2 memory cards. How about one for the camera and one for the zoom. So then maybe a couple months go by. This thing just stops recording. Period. It will not record for more than 2 minutes at a time, and so I just said, you know what? I'm done doing it. I'm going to record using the webcam on the laptop, which is not good. Webcam laptops are horrible. And then I got this Galaxy S21 over here, this Ultra, S21 Ultra. Yeah. I paid the premium price. I'm using it as a timer, glorified timer right now. And so I've been using that as the video camera for C Plus Comedy. So I've just stopped using the Rebel altogether. Early in the pandemic, Canon released a thing called the EOS camera utility for Windows and Mac users. So you can use your Canon products, just 40 cameras as 40 cameras from their lineup as a webcam, so it can look good and presentable. And I didn't think my camera was going to be a part of that situation until this week when I'm doing an interview. Well, I did. Past tense. I've already done an interview with Flula Borg, who is a worldwide known comedian. Everybody knows Flula. He's the German guy who wears fanny packs and he makes music, and he's a funny guy. So I was going to do an interview with him, and then Monday I thought, you know what, maybe I got to figure out this webcam situation. I look at the Canon, and I remember that this utility came out. Boom, I go to the website. Miraculously, my camera's on there. They opened up the process. They put in more cameras. They have 40 cameras on there. And so now I can use this thing that does not record for the life of me, as my webcam. And it's going to be the webcam for the foreseeable future. It is not going to be used to shoot video anymore. I'm sorry, EOS Rebel that I bought off my sister in 2013. But it just can't happen anymore. I can't trust it. But it's a very good webcam. It makes everything look great. It looks amazing. Also, did not use this for 3 job interviews I had, or 2. 2 of them were webcam. Just didn't use it because I completely forgot. But I'm so glad I have it now. So, welcome to the fold. Now I got to buy a real camera. I got a job first. Got to get one of these jobs first. All right. So that was a good 5-minute story. Let's move on. We don't have any news because I intentionally did not look up news after I decided what I was going to do. I have to remember to look up at that camera and not at the webcam from the laptop. And so I do. Also, I have to use a special cable for the Rebel for the T3, and it's not micro USB or whatever it's called. It doesn't take USB-C. It takes the mini USBs. So imagine a full-size USB-A, the rectangle, and then imagine it half that size, and then at the bottom crimped more inside. And I kept calling it a macro USB because the other ones are mini USBs. And then USB-A, then USB-C. I've never seen USB-B. I'll stop. So let's get on with the first topic over here. Something that happened over the last weekend. AT&T has already gotten rid of its media business and is jumping back into cellular, only cellular. And they spun off WarnerMedia with Discovery. Now, if you've been paying attention to the news, you've heard spin-off, you've heard, spin-off, spun off, all that stuff. You've heard it and not really understood it. Trust me, I didn't understand it either. Just going to move this thing over here. I didn't understand it either. It did not make sense to me. I didn't know what a spin-off was. And so I had to, and obviously the episode of News Time I did this week, it came out late, and it had to be about this. I was going to save it, and then just too much information started coming out. Then it felt like it's settled. That's how I make News Time. If there's too much information, and I think that it's going to turn a tide in a couple of months, I'll wait. Like the Movie Pass stuff. I could have easily done, not easily, but I could have done weeks, just like a couple of weeks episodes worth of News Time with what the heck is this thing? Is this from the camera? Oh, it's from my laptop. Oh my God. This thing is falling apart. This laptop is falling apart. That is so sad. There's this tiny little piece. Let's see if I can get it focused there. This tiny little piece just fell off my laptop. I didn't know what it was. Oh, I can focus the camera too? Oh my God. This just changed the game on podcasting. Somebody call Spotify so they can buy me. Too many mediocre white guys over there. Joe Rogan, Dak Shepard, the Gimlet, Ringer, excuse me. Also Gimlet. Anyway, what were we talking about? So I typically just wait, and so I can get like a bunch of information to put on one episode and then wait a couple of, however long, a bunch more information. There's an episode about the Nielsen ratings that I've been waiting to do, and I think something's gonna pop later this year, but we'll find out. But it all that stemmed from the pandemic, the Nielsen, and then also the pandemic. So I did weeks episodes worth of the pandemic. So anyway, the coronavirus pandemic. I don't know what's going on in the future. So this is written by John Coblin and Edmund Lee over at the New York Times. I think the Times did a fantastic job. And we'll get into this later, but Variety also. I think Variety is my favorite trade publication. And then The Hollywood Reporter, and then Deadline, then The Wrap. I applied to a position at The Wrap a couple of weeks ago. Did not get it. Fully remote. Could have done it from here. All right, let's move on. Come on, Chad. So the term spinoff, when it comes to this whole media empire stuff with AT&T, means that they've shed all the WarnerMedia business. They are no longer going to have an input on HBO Max. They're not going to be able to say anything about Warner Brothers, the movie studio, TNT, like nothing, none of that stuff. But they will still make money off of the WarnerMedia empire for now. I don't know if there's a timetable on this, but they are still getting 71% of the money they still hold 71% of WarnerMedia, whereas now while Discovery has 29%, but Discovery CEO David Zaslav is in charge of the whole pie, and Jason Kilar is getting axed. Now we don't know if he's getting axed, and quite frankly, I mentioned this in News Time. I don't know if he knew about this deal. I feel like it was last Friday when this, 7 days ago, typically a week ago. I feel like last Friday, this news was like a rumor, like Thursday or Friday, the news was a rumor and nobody believed it. And then Saturday, it started ramping up. And then Sunday, it was real. And then Monday, they said, yeah, it's true. This is happening. The deal was announced Monday, and it's going to put CNN and HBO shows and all that other stuff, mix it up with reality shows over at Discovery. They own TLC and Discovery and Motor Trend, I assume. I don't know. So here's the thing. The merged company is going to have, could have a value above $100 billion, which would rival behemoths like Disney and the biggest media company, as well as they could rival Disney and Netflix. So AT&T was in massive debt when they bought Time Warner in 2018. They spent $85 billion, which I have learned from the reading analysts' analysis of this what happened this past week. That is way overpriced for WarnerMedia, for Time Warner. To my estimation, pretty much is. AT&T fought for the deal despite everybody being against it, including the former president, Donald J. Trump. Good guy. But it doesn't matter anymore because, Disney bought Fox, and I mentioned this in News Time. Disney bought Fox, and truly, no one gave a crap. But when AT&T wants to buy Time Warner, I mean, come on. Also, I learned that Gulf and Western owned Paramount, which you could probably see in the logos of old Paramount movies, where it says it has the Paramount Mountain and the stars, and then also at the bottom it says a Gulf and Western company. But I never paid attention to that. I just saw Paramount. But Gulf and Western doesn't exist anymore, obviously. And General Electric owned NBC. Just look at 30 Rock. They made jokes about that all the time. Industry analysts had questioned the acquisition in 2018, citing the continued acceleration of cord cutting. In 2014, AT&T also bought DirecTV. And even at that point, people, after they bought DirecTV, they lost a lot of subscribers. They lost so many subscribers. Isn't that crazy? No, it's expected. Because streaming was happening. I remember I was adamantly against streaming. I thought, oh boy, that light just flickered. I thought, you know what, this streaming thing, no one's gonna buy into this. Oh boy, I could not be an analyst. Or I just have to think. As part of the deal, AT&T will get cash and bonds that would amount to about $43 billion, allowing it to shed some of that debt. So remember, they spent $85 billion. All right, and they've lost money since then. What kind of sense does that make? It's like I need a new bed, and then, I go, all right, well, I have negative $200, so let me go buy. I don't have negative $200, but let me go buy a bed, and so I can have negative $600. Doesn't make sense. So as AT&T tried to enter the entertainment space, T-Mobile and Verizon were over there. T-Mobile merged with Sprint, which I also learned that AT&T tried to merge with T-Mobile. Or no, the guy, right? Something like that. Hold on. There was a guy who bought T-Mobile, and then he merged it with Sprint. And I think he was trying to merge AT&T and T-Mobile. Don't quote me on that. I'm not going to look it up. It's wrong. But T-Mobile and Verizon expanded their 5G coverage, and then AT&T is over here trying to schlep it with the big boys and girls and in-betweens. AT&T shareholders still own 71% of the business. Okay. So Zaslav is going to be in charge. Kilar's out. And he's trying to negotiate. He hired a legal team to negotiate his departure. This is going to be a boon for Discovery. And the question is, what happens with the two apps, Discovery Plus and HBO Max? Now, Discovery Plus, both HBO Max and Discovery Plus have been doing really well. Combined, I think HBO Max has about 44 million subscribers, which is great. And I mean, combined with HBO Max and also with HBO on the cable circuit, traditional cable. And then Discovery Plus just is doing better than anybody ever expected it to. And now the question is, do you merge them or do you bundle them? And Zaslav has said that bundling is a good idea, and he pointed to Disney's bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. And again, that's a bundle I pay for. The only thing I watch on Disney Plus is The Simpsons. It's very true. I turned on Bonkers. I used to watch Bonkers when I was a child. It's not a good show, but it's something to watch. The new company is going to be bigger than Netflix and NBC Universal, which is owned by Comcast, who had their own trouble buying NBC from GE. Or actually, no, excuse me. Comcast spent $18 billion on NBC, which is, and the rest of that stuff that they have, but which is crazy because GE was just, I guess, in a rush to offload it. Together, WarnerMedia and Discovery generated more than $41 billion in sales last year, with an operating profit of topping $10 billion. And then they're going to spend a lot more money on shows and movies. Apparently, Discovery and the new WarnerMedia. I hope they don't rename WarnerMedia because they just changed the name, and B, I kind of dig it. But you don't need to be Discover Media or something like that. That's stupid. Isn't it crazy that a couple of years ago, I remember Discovery was not doing well. I remember Discovery was just because they were like shedding shows and slimming down, and now they kind of just do shows that are, on Discovery. I've mentioned this before because I heard Phil Rosenthal say this on, I think, Never Not Funny. Like Food Network is doing shows that are food adjacent instead of, just straight up cooking shows. With the exception of Pioneer Woman and Giada at Home. And then Discovery's doing science adjacent shows, just stuff that looks sciencey, but, should attract the non-sciencey people. Discovery has 15 million global streaming subscribers, most of it from its Discovery Plus app. So, John Stanky, a man who basically has foot and mouth disease. Everything he's ever said about the entertainment industry has just been wrong, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. And he's the guy who's in charge of AT&T. And the problem is, when he came into this industry, he thought he knew it better than everybody. He thought he could do things better than Ted Sarandos or Bob Iger or any other white guy that's in charge of a media company. And hire me, please. I'll stop making fun of you. And it just, what's really funny? I got a recruiter reached out to me, this week and said, "Do you want to work at?" We're representing this client, AT&T, and they need like a digital media producer, and I went, oh, AT&T, do they mean, WarnerMedia, like right now WarnerMedia? Because the deal's not through yet. It'll come through next year. And I was like, and I looked at it and went, maybe that sounds good. And then I looked at where the office was, and I thought, well, that's not where Turner is. Turner's where in Atlanta is where Cartoon Network and TNT and inside the NBA. That's where that all that stuff is, and it's not at the CNN building downtown. And I just thought, could they have another one? And then I followed it, and it's a straight up. It's an AT&T office in Lenox in Atlanta, and I just thought, no, I don't want to work for a failing company. Just joking. I didn't say that. No, I just said I don't think so. I appreciate the offer. Thank you. I remember it was a recruiter, so it was just applying for the job. It's not like I would get it. All right, so there we go. That's how you have it. There's another link I provided how the deal came through, how it came about, and how it came about was David Zaslav, the CEO of Discovery, was watching an AT&T golfing tournament, and he sent a bunch of emojis to John Stanky, and they got to talking, and and now the deal's done. Isn't that stupid? A bunch of emojis. That's how teens hook up on Tinder. Do teens are teens on Tinder? I might have a title for the episode. Also gross. So let's get into this next thing, the upfronts. The upfronts, if you remember, if you recall, if you, which I doubt you do, anybody who watches this show regularly or watches News Time or listens to this stupid podcast knows that the upfronts are twice a year. Networks come out and say, they parade around what they have on offer coming up in the next television season or coming up in the next mid-season. So usually it happens once during the winter time around January, and then once in the summertime, late spring, early summertime around May. And they're these lavish affairs. They spend so much money, and the goal is to get advertisers to look at you and go, "We want to advertise in between Bob Hart's Abishola and what's another show? The Neighborhood." Also, season finale of Bob Hart's Abishola, very funny. Not joking. I love that show. So we're only going to focus. Every company does it, but we're only going to focus on the broadcasters because those are the important ones. That's where the ad dollars really are. And I will mention this that my cat's in the. I leave out her crate so she can get used to it. The crate or whatever, the cat carrier, so she can get used to it. And she's and sometimes when I get on the computer, she goes in there because it's soft, and she sits next to me. Hi, baby. Oh, so cute. I just gave her a little pet. So I mentioned this earlier. Variety. I mentioned Variety is my favorite trade publication, and you know why? Because they have great writers, and they cover the information and without snark and all that stuff. So let's get into this. The first one we'll do NBC first. We should do these in the order that you know what? We'll do these in the order that they live on here in Atlanta. The order in which the networks sit. So we're gonna go ABC, CBS, Fox, and then NBC. NBS. That's my favorite network, baby. All right, so the first one comes from ABC. It comes from Variety. Written by Elaine Lowe. Disney Upfront spotlights inclusion, cross-platform endeavors, and show of conglomerate firepower. Now, I like the way Elaine Lowe, she took the theme of the entire Upfront and then ran with it. She did. I only have three of hers, but I think. But anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel basically trashed Disney throughout. Just he roasted them. I mean, whatever. It's lighthearted. That's what the roast is for. But Disney and ABC talked about new shows for Hulu and ABC, including a Wonder Years reboot and ESPN's live sports programming. And so, speaking of, we'll off a little side street, little non sequiturs here. ESPN, the live sports program, the live sports has become a huge thing, especially in terms of streaming. That's why Peacock has a bunch of like wrestling. They bought the rights to wrestling, and then CBS has a bunch of soccer. I assume Tubi at some point, for Fox is going to get some type of sports programming. That's why Amazon has the rights to Thursday Night Football, which is a big get for them, even though I think it's the least watched football programming. And now ESPN. Oh, I already talked to you. And then WarnerMedia talked about live sports, and then they're going to air some of that, I guess, on TNT. I don't know. A major part, Elaine writes, of Disney's message to would-be advertisers appeared to be, we have many, many platforms and seamless cross-brand synergies, trying them all together. Hulu's viewership, some numbers, rose 67% to 103 million ad-supported viewers over the past 2 years because they charge me $5 a month. Feels like there's a burp coming. With an audience that is 61% cordless. Are we cordless? Disney said it reaches 200 million viewers across streaming, linear, and digital platforms, with its live sports programming, with streaming of college football up 40% from the prior year. In a show of cross-platform strength, the company also touted that nearly 60% of Hulu subscribers engage with sports programming. That's great because they put ESPN Plus on Hulu. So I'll never have to open the ESPN Plus app again. Now they've got the stars, and they bring out stars. You know, these upfronts, they bring out stars to talk about the networks and whatever is coming and all that crap. And so Disney is talking about diversity, and we'll get to that in the trailers in a second. CBS, you know, it's funny. Disney, ABC canceled Blackish and Mixedish, and Mixedish is the better show. At least it has been this past season. And so that makes you think, well, they're getting rid of the people of color shows. No, 4 of the new shows from ABC, 4 out of like 5 of their new shows star black people. Feels like they're forgetting a lot of races, but you know, whatever. Michael Schneider wrote about the Viacom CBS Upfront recap. More emphasis on mountain of content as individual networks are downplayed. And that's an interesting note for Viacom CBS. They typically, for the past, I guess, ever since the purchase, the remerger of Viacom CBS, because it used to be broken up. They were together, then broke up, now they're together again. Is that they do cross-platform plays all the time. For instance, the MTV Music and TV and Video Awards, TV and Film Awards, I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I don't watch that because I'm not 7. Those awards that aired this week with Leslie Jones hosting, they had two versions. They had Leslie hosting the main event, and then they also had Nikki Glaser hosting an uncensored version, and then they aired them on all of the Viacom CBS networks, including Nickelodeon, TV Land, CMT, BET, and MTV. So that's 5 different networks, and they're not afraid to do that. And that's what I think that's, and you can stream it now on CBS All Access or Paramount Plus, I think. But that is exactly how this new world of streaming and the media conglomeration should work. Is that you have all these networks and you want to get the most viewers possible. Why not just get rid of your regular programming for that night? Because I'm sure whatever was going to air on BET and CMT wasn't going to beat MTV Music, TV and Video Awards, or whatever the heck this is called. Just do it. That's what they did with the Grammys too. So the idea is synergy. Unlike the CBS upfronts of old, when the network would highlight night-by-night strategy and programming initiatives in detail, the focus here was on hammering home the entire company's library. Viacom CBS's programming was promoted as one holistic slate, separated by genre: dramas, comedies, reality, unscripted, kids and family, late-night, daytime, specials, events, and sports and news. So they've got a bunch of, they talk about everything at once. They make it feel like it is a one thing instead of 6 different things. Oh my God, I just closed out the entire tab. Oh, Chad, what is wrong with you? And now the computer is slowing down. This is sad. Oh, okay. Now I'm back. I was stuttering for at least 5 or 6 seconds. And I refuse to stop this show. I'll probably just stop at some point because this battery is going to die on the camera. So let's move on to Fox. This comes from Peter White over at Deadline. The takeaways from Fox Upfronts: avoiding an advertising death spiral animation, finding the next Glee and Tom Brady. I didn't know that there was an advertising problem over at Fox. And I don't know if Fox Broadcasting also includes Fox News, and I don't know if they're including that. The network uses virtual event for ad buyers to tout its subscription list streaming services, and which is true. This is the leg up that Fox has. You don't have to spend money in order to get a decent streaming service. And Tubi is a very good free streaming service. Now they do have a bunch of crappy things on there, but also in terms of the things on Tubi, they have. I don't have the Tubi app on my phone because I don't need it. But I will go to Tubi.tv or Tubi.com or whatever it is right now. So they do have big movies like Gods of Egypt, which is a horrible film. Then they have date movie, superhero movie. Oh God, these movies suck. The Bucket List, Click, Warm Bodies, Zookeeper. So they have things you know, My Little Pony the movie, alongside Tyler Perry's Medea's Tough Love. And then they also have The Outsiders, Divergent, Baby Boy, After Earth, The Last Witch Hunter. So they have things you know, but then they also have just a pile of crap. And the ads, I would say, are less intrusive than they have The Perfect Storm. Then what's that? Crackle, and Pluto. I mean, in terms of free streaming service, it's free. Pluto and Tubi are great. Crackle sucks butt. So they talked about their cartoons. They're bringing animation domination to Monday during the summers, and so they have a couple of cartoons for that, which means that they couldn't find room for them during the year, and I don't expect them to do well. I mean, I like Duncanville, and I'm excited to see the other new show, but I mean, come on a Monday during the summer. 100% ad supported. Given that it was a presentation designed for advertisers, it was still somewhat surprising quite how much Fox hammered home its message, both for the Fox network and Tubi. They're focused. They believe in broadcasting and advertising. Instead of being all things to all people, Fox is doing fewer things and doing them better, said one of the Fox bigwigs. The network reaches 50 million viewers a week and 10 million a night. Wow. Cool. But they also have hit shows like the 911 franchise and The Masked Singer, if people still watch that. And Fox-owned shows, all the Fox-owned shows are going to air on the streamer on Tubi after they've aired on Fox. So that does not include The Simpsons or Family Guy. That only includes, I don't know if they own 911, The Masked Singer. And what else do they own? Any show that's made post 2019, I think, is when they stop making shows that they don't own. And then Fox is giving up Thursday Night Football. And they're going to fill it with that time slot with something. Probably live action shows. Reality, excuse me. So anyway, they got that coming. And then finally, we got the NBC Upfronts, Back to Variety, written by Elaine Lowe. NBCU makes Peacock the focus as streaming service dominates Upfront push. So NBCU is also trying to steer into this streaming thing, albeit with a little bit of less synergy than Viacom CBS. They also canceled all of their comedies. They don't have any comedies this fall. And then mid-season 2022, they're going to have more comedies. The number one goal is to bring the audiences the best shows, said the streaming content chief Susan Rovner. And she sat down with Hoda Kotb on the Today set. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure all of this. They've got a bunch of unscripted shows coming to Peacock. I just saw Nicole Byer's name, and I have to read this. Kelly Clarkson interviewed Renee Zellweger, Nicole Byer about the drama, The Thing About Pam, and the comedy The Grand Crew. Oh, I didn't know Nicole was in a new comedy. Good for her. They've got a show from Kevin Hart. Oh, God, it's a talk show on Peacock called Heart to Heart. They've got, let's see. With the event divvied up broadly into scripted, unscripted franchise, and sports sections, the focus appeared to be not on any one of NBCU's extensive web of broadcast and cable offerings, which include not just NBC, but USA, Sci-Fi, E!, Bravo, and other networks, but on elevating the shows themselves regardless of where viewers might go to find them. Andy Cohen's unscripted section, for example, spotlighted Bravo's unusual lineup of reality fare, from the Housewives franchise to Top Chef, as well as NBC's longtime singing competition, The Voice, and lighthearted craft contest, making it alongside E! Network's The Bradshaw Bunch. So that makes sense. They're just trying to make it all seamless, but not in a way that Viacom CBS is doing it. So this is like the other way that you could make your stuff appear as though you can get anywhere. Because eventually, they're just going to go, someone's going to go, okay, I want to watch Real Housewives. They're going to go to Google, type it in, or Alta Vista, type it in, and then they're going to find Real Housewives is available on Peacock. So it makes sense. NBCU is seeking primetime TV rates for commercials that will stream on Peacock, which notably only runs 5 minutes of ads per hour. I don't know if that's a smart idea. Oh, someone got a message from NPR. All right. So let's get into the final part of this. We're gonna listen to some of the trailers as I discuss them. So I plugged it into my laptop, plugged in the thing. These trailers are for the broadcast shows only, and this episode is longer than I thought it was gonna be. So let's just get right through it. So this first new show comes from ABC. It's a mid-season replacement called Abbott Elementary, starring Quinta Brunson. I like her. She's very funny. This is the reason she's not on Black Lady Sketch Show this season. But it is a very funny looking show. Very funny looking show. It's a hold on, I gotta turn the audio down. My favorite movie is American Gangster. I'm sorry. I will be having a third talk with your mom about what you're watching at home. All right. So it's a show about it's a mockumentary show about a teacher in an underfunded school. Now you can't even hear it. This laptop is so slow. Oh my god! You try to do two things at once, like watch a video and record a video at the same time. It looks very funny. I watched the trailer, very funny. And Tyler James Williams is in it. Who else? No one else I really know. Oh, Janelle James. Oh, okay, cool. And it's just going to be another mockumentary show, but this time at a school. I don't know what The Big Leap is. The Big Leap is a group of diverse underdogs from all different walks of life. I don't care. The Cleaning Lady is going to be a drama. The Big Leap is going to be on Fox. A Cleaning Lady is going to be a Fox show, mid-season replacement. It's a thriller, I think, about a cleaning woman who refuses to be beaten down and marginalized. Instead, she becomes a cleaning lady for the mob and starts playing the game by her own rules. Okay. Interesting. Then they have another CSI that's coming back, CSI Vegas. All right, so here we have another comedy. This one's called Ghost. I watched the trailer for it yesterday, starring Rose McIver and Utkarsh Ambedkar. I love that guy. He's so funny. And Brandon Scott Jones from The Good Place. It's another single camera comedy, this time on CBS. Let's see, is this going to be this fall? Yes. And so they get a house. They are gifted a house, and a bunch of ghosts live there. The ghosts try to get them out of the house. And then eventually Rose McIver can see the ghosts. I think this is the entire pilot in this trailer. And all the ghosts are all pretty much white, and they all have something to say, something snarky. Another ABC show is called Maggie, and it stars Rebecca Rittenhouse, Nicole Sakura from Superstore, who I think she changed her name back to her original name because I don't think On Superstore, she's credited as Nicole Sakura. Angelique Cabral, who's great, and Carrie Kinney, Chris Elliott. All right, cool. It's a show where a woman, Maggie, obviously, is she becomes a psychic, and she's trying to cope being a psychic, and the only way she can see people's fates is by touching their hand, I think, and then in the pilot she meets this young man, and she touches his hand and sees her future, and then they're getting in their future together. They're getting married, and she goes, "Oh, I can't handle this. I should play the trailer." I'm explaining exactly what happens in the trailer. I mean, it's 30 seconds, and they give away like the entire thing.
Are you doing the reading, or no? Just put your hands on the.
But it looks to be a very funny show and very diverse, which is what I like. Shout out to ABC. ABC and CBS have become the most diverse ones.
It'd be a wedding.
And then she sees herself.
You've ever experienced.
She's great. She got amazing eyebrows. I didn't know who she was. And I'm like, oh, who's this? NCIS Hawaii, which looks to be very brown, which I love. Pivoting, which is another mid-season comedy replacement over there on Fox, starring Eliza Coupe, Jennifer Goodwin, and Maggie Q. And, Judy Reyes. Oh, Julian Reyes, never mind. Marcelo Julian Reyes. I believe that is the Manny from Modern Family. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Might be racist. And these women, they lose a friend. The friend dies, and so they have to learn to find happiness and be impulsive and all that stuff. Oh, that's the joke. That's the joke in the trailer. That's one of the jokes. Then there's Queens on ABC, starring Eve and Brandy. Nadine Velasquez, who I believe is from My Name is Earl. Yes. Gorgeous. And so that's going to be a very great show because it's a drama about a bunch of women in their 40s who come together and try to be the music group that they were back in the 90s. So I'll be watching that. Then Welcome to Flatch, which is another mockumentary style show starring Sean William Scott, Aya Cash, and some other people who are younger, who are the kids. I believe that they're going to be the main characters, and Aya Cash and Sean William Scott will just be there in the cursory part. But it looks to be another mockumentary show about a small town and quirky people. That's another joke in the trailer. There's Sean William Scott sitting there. He's a priest or something, and Aya Cash is his ex-girlfriend. Women of the Movement, another ABC mid-season replacement. Then The Wonder Years, this is the final thing. The Wonder Years. It's going to be a reboot, and Don Cheadle's going to be narrating it. Elijah E.J. Williams, Dule Hill, Sekon Singblo, Laura Kuriauki, Milan Ray, Julian Lerner. Julian Lerner sounds familiar. And Amari O'Neil. So it's The Wonder Years, but black people. All right. There you go. We just covered all of the new shows, watched some of the trailers. I didn't want to get a content strike, so that's why I stopped the songs. But everything looks to be in order. Everything looks to be interesting. And we'll see how those shows fare. You can't tell so much by the trailers, and they've only shot the pilot for a lot of these shows, for like a majority of these shows. So it's just watch beyond the pilot. I mean, at some point you just gotta the pilot is what? Okay. Well, oh my God, Jesus. If you're watching the video, my light just went out. Okay. Well, it is lunchtime and I'm hungry. I actually recorded this episode a lot earlier than usual. Listen, if you like what you heard here, and I don't know why you wouldn't. If you don't like trade talk, boy. Head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me interview Flula Borg. I think that's going to go up next week. the video as well. I have a video. Also, I forgot to press record, so I had to reach out to his PR person, who I noticed was recording, and I said, "You mind send me that video?" I forgot to press record because I was so busy setting up the camera and then looking over my questions and all that, and I got like, and I haven't done an interview in so long, so since December. So I just said, I recorded using OBS like I usually do, and then yeah, okay, well. YouTube, and then if you want to see a video version of the show, youtube.com/C+comedy. That's where you can also see the video interview of Flula Borg, which will be coming out next week. Again, if you don't want to watch a video of that interview, then you can listen to it at the end of next week's podcast. So, yeah, or maybe it'll be its own podcast in the feed. I haven't decided yet. Probably that. That's probably the smartest part. She's asleep. Nova's asleep. Also on youtube.com/C+comedy is our premiere show News Time, which is a weekly show like the Daily Show. I just take one story and make a whole story about it. One story and make a whole story about it. And it is this week's episode is WarnerMedia being sold or spun off with Discovery. So if you want to get all the information on that, head on over to that, because I included everything I could. A lot of good jokes in that, too. Shot on my S21 Ultra in pro video mode, if anyone cares, which no one does. Instagram, Twitter, @C+comedy, and me on Instagram and Twitter, @ChatBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Rate, review, subscribe. Tell your friends about this podcast. If this is a podcast, no one else is doing this stuff that I'm doing. I don't know. There are a million podcasts. I don't know what anyone else is doing. I don't make any money, and I don't plan on it. This is a portfolio. In fact, during two of those interviews, through all three of those interviews, they go, "So you seem pretty talented. Why don't we understand why you don't have a job or something like that?" They say something along those lines, and I go, "Well, let me tell you, I don't charge anything for C+ comedy. I don't want to. I don't plan on it. It's because it's a portfolio, and I enjoy doing it." And they just go, "Oh, okay." I just need more people to understand that. I don't make money from this. I do this out of the kindness of my heart, out of the goodwill nature. I need people to know about the entertainment trades. All right, I'm leaving. Bye.